All right, this week for the cold open question I got for you, it's related. I think it's related. It's related to what we're talking about. Okay. What sports game, could be any sport, could be, any system. What sports game did you like as a kid, and what sports games do you like now, if any? So we'll talk about that at the end.
Okay.
Favorite kind of sports games as kids and as adults.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right. Your local video store card.
A comic book in your back pocket.
Games with no tutorials.
Music you had to discover.
And drinking water straight from the hose.
These are the things us millennials remember fondly. We are the Jennings brothers.
Join us after the streetlights come on
as we race our bikes from the top of the hill
right down memory lane.
Exchange those quarters, because this podcast takes tokens.
Welcome back to another episode of This Podcast Takes Tokens. Last week we kind of left you hanging. We left you in a bit of a cliffhanger there, if you will. The subject we hadn't really disclosed. We knew it was going to be something based around football. So after the episode wrapped, we kind of talked about it a little bit, and we decided that this episode we're going to come back and we're going to talk about football games, football video games, the types of football video games that we grew up playing and what we liked about them. Specifically, we're going to talk about our 3 favorites and our least favorite football game growing up. And whenever I say football, we're talking about North America, NFL, not soccer as it's known to the rest of the planet. For whatever reason, we've decided to call it football here. And that's what we're going to talk about. So we're going to start out this episode. Like I said, we're going to talk about football video games. And then we're going to spend a couple episodes, just I think 3 of them, covering the sport of football, if you will.
Yes. We love it. We're red-blooded Americans, and we love our football. So that's
right.
Yeah, we're gonna touch on that, and hope you enjoy it with us. So, but football video games.
That's right, football
We've
video
games. We've grown up playing these, enjoying them quite a bit.
And I think we've probably got the same one on our lists, and I'm going to venture to say Madden football.
Yes.
Would I be wrong? Madden football. That's right.
Has to be. I
to
think
be
anybody
list,
that has played a sports game, like at least here in the United States, if they've only played one, it's been Madden.
Yeah.
Maybe like NBA 2K, maybe, but I'm willing to bet most people.
EA's got the lock on sports games for sure.
Oh yeah.
At least now. I mean, it wasn't always the case. You had different different makers in there, Midway and Data East and Sega out there making pretty good sports games growing up. So but yeah, Madden, that's the one that's just always been there. It's been there since not the beginning, but very close. Like I think late 80s was whenever they dropped the first Madden game.
Early now. So there's a YouTuber that I haven't watched his stuff for a long time, and I'm not really sure if he's still even doing anything. But he was I'm from the Kansas City area, and this guy is from the Kansas City area, and he's called the Gaming Historian.
Oh,
and
yeah,
you should check his YouTube channel out.
Good stuff.
He did have you seen it then?
Yeah. I've watched him.
Yeah. He did a whole episode on Madden, and kind of how that all came into being. It started out, I think, on PC and DOS. I'm not going to give it justice. You Mac. Just need to go and yeah. So if you're listening out there, just if you're interested, go check that video out, because he just goes way into depth, and it's good though. But yeah, you're right. It's been around. Madden has been around for seems like it's just always been there. Yeah. Yeah.
I think Atari. Yeah. It wasn't on the Atari. Everything's from Nintendo on.
Yep.
It's been there. I want to say. I think even like the Jaguar had one. I'm willing to bet. I'm not
sure
going to go on the
probably
record
did.
with that one, but
Yeah.
I'm 90% sure there was probably one on the Jaguar.
I mean, they don't use they don't. It hasn't been on a Nintendo console since the GameCube, I believe.
No.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, that's right. I did look on the Switch. I couldn't find it on the Switch. Yeah. That's funny.
It's because I think like the hardware can't support how they're building the game now.
Wow.
So that's only on PlayStation and Xbox now. But
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they don't make just like a more stripped down version of it to put on there.
I know.
It's a big market you're missing on.
They have like an iOS version of it. I mean, it's not like a complete version of Madden, but it is an iOS version of the game.
So, I gotta say, like, I'm gonna touch on myself a little bit here. I'm on what I want to say here, but I feel like that kind of lends into one of my problems with Madden football is that now it has just gotten too complicated.
Oh yeah,
they are overly done. I feel like
yes.
I feel like Madden has gone through this gambit where they started out being kind of a pioneering game format and like how to play. They kind of, much like we were talking about with Dragon Warrior, they set the stage for how a American football game should look and how it should play and feel. Maybe not with the very first iteration, but within like the first couple rounds, they nailed that down pretty quick, and everybody was just trying to emulate that for the longest time. And they got really good. I think for me, it was about 2008, 2009 was whenever they were probably the best, and I enjoyed it the most. And since then, I feel like it's just slowly gotten way too complicated. There's just way too much to it, and I don't enjoy them anymore. In fact, I downloaded 23, the Madden 23. I think they did like a special edition just for John Madden, and I played that one last night. I played one round of it, and it was too complicated. Like the passing system, like it's just, there's too much going on. Maybe it's just me growing up on retro consoles, but I just enjoy simple games whenever it comes to like these types of things. I don't want to pick the play down to like just show me a list of plays that you suggest. I'm gonna pick one of those and I'm gonna be happy. That's fine. I don't need it to be I just want to pick a receiver. I don't need to pick exactly how he catches the ball, if it arcs up too high or too low. I don't need any of that. And that's kind of the problem I'm having with Madden nowadays.
I had the exact same issue because I think I had purchased that. It was on sale, like maybe, I don't know. I've migrated away from Xbox. I'm like all in on my PS5 now. But it was like, it was before I gave my Series S to my stepson. And I had purchased Madden 23 and I was like, okay, I'm going to get back into this. And because, I'm sure you're the same way. I get a hankering sometimes where I'm just like, I just want to play some football, especially during football season. I'm like, there's not a game on tonight. I can
just
make
a good sports game, period.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is.
And football season really brings it out.
It does. It absolutely does. Yes. Yeah. And yeah, I'm like, I bought it and I'm all excited. And then like I always do the tutorials because I'm like, okay, I got to kind of refamiliarize myself here. And yeah,
that's it's 3 days right there.
It is. And they're like, okay, you got to pass it. Now you got to shift the stick this way while you're pressing this button and holding the trigger. And you got to hold your tongue at the roof of your mouth just a certain way. And then, Tom Brady will throw the ball and it'll arc and slightly curve. And then you have to click. Receiver. Yes. Then you got to click triangle mid-throw to pick the receiver, and then you've got to move your stick this way and angle this and press this button right at the right time to be able to catch the ball. I'm like, I'm out. I'm completely out. It is.
Bring me back to Tecmo Bowl.
Yes. Like my favorite Madden of all time was Madden 2003. Okay. And I still own it. I've got it on GameCube. had Marshall Faulk, running back for the St. Louis Rams, on the cover. And that game was so good. I remember my friend, when I was in high school, my friend Clayton and I, we would spend long nights, like we'd stay at each other's houses over the weekend, and we would each pick like, I don't know, like 10 or 12 teams, and we would whittle our way down and just have little mini tournaments with ourselves, and then we would have like our own like quote Super Bowl with like the last two teams that were on the bracket. And like, yeah, you would, like when you're passing, the most complex it got was you had to pick, obviously, you had the buttons above the heads of the receivers.
Yep.
And if you tapped the button, it would lob the ball. If you held the button down, it would bullet pass it fast. That's all you needed.
Simple. Yeah.
That's all you needed.
There were several times playing last night where I was about to get tackled, so I'd hit the button, just panic, hit the button to get to throw the ball away, and he'd fake it. He wouldn't throw it. He would just fake it.
Yes.
And that was driving me nuts.
Oh,
I just wasn't pressing it long enough.
Yes. So I don't know. They, like you were saying, they really had something going for a good long time there. And I know it's probably because, there's people that are super competitive playing this online, and they probably want the complexity of it because it makes it more challenging and
they want that full sim environment.
Yep. I wish they had like a
fun game,
quote, like,
fun version.
Like a simplified, like you could play it as it's intended with all the extra sim controls, and everything, or a simplified version of it. And it could be like you can't play online with the simplified version. Yeah. That's fine. I just want to play. Yeah. I just want to play a franchise mode.
Just want to kick back and relax.
I want to be a coach. Yeah, I want to see if I can make it to the Super Bowl.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know.
So is the Madden curse still real? I know that like recently they had Mahomes on the cover. Was it the last one or the one before? And then they went on to the Super Bowl.
Oh,
so that's got to be. I think Mahomes broke the curse.
Oh, I think so. Now, fair warning. Like I said, I'm from the Kansas City area. I am a shameless Chiefs fan. We have had terrible teams for decades, and we finally have a good team. So I don't know. You can hate on me all you want, Derek. I know you're a Chiefs fan. You're originally from up around this area, and so there's that for any listeners out there. Give us all the hate.
Bring it on.
Yeah. The Madden curse. Yeah. I mean, you look at, I'm trying to think of who was on there. Last year it was Josh Allen, and I mean, they went to the playoffs, but the Bills didn't have near as good a year as they've had in the past. And, I don't know. I'm trying to think of examples, but there are a lot of them.
There was Brett Favre was on there, and they considered that a curse. Warren Moon, whenever he was on there, they considered that a curse. Who was it else that they put on there around the same time? I know Brady was on there at one point, but I don't know. I can't remember.
You can't count
if that was the year
Brady's
they
like
bought
Mahomes,
the Super Bowl or not.
Count. Yeah, Brady has just always been too good, so that's that one doesn't count.
It's just superhuman. It doesn't.
Yeah,
it's not right.
Yeah, like I love Mahomes, but Brady will always be the GOAT in my opinion, and that's just how it is.
I can't give it to him. It just burns me. I can't give it. It's not real. It's not natural. There's something else going on there. But that's a discussion for the next episode.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I think this year it's CMC, it's Christian McCaffrey, and I'm like, gosh, I mean, I'm glad that my Chiefs beat the Niners in the Super Bowl this last year, but like, I really like Christian McCaffrey, so like, please don't go and like destroy your season because I want you for my fantasy football team, and you can't do that.
So. Yeah, I know there was a couple of years there where it was so bad that they were having a hard time getting good players to be on the cover for a couple of years because they were just like, no, I don't want to touch that.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's kind of fading away a little bit. Maybe it's like maybe it coincides with the quality of the game. As the quality of the game goes down, that curse goes away.
Yeah,
it's just not as fun.
That could be. That could be. Yeah. So, what was your first memory like playing Madden? Like, do you remember
the
like when you
first
first played it?
time? I think it was. Well, I'm sure I picked it up at some point growing up. Like somebody had it, and I'm sure we played it, and I just don't remember it. But the first time I remember really sitting down and playing it and enjoying it was N64 era. A friend of mine had it on the N64. I think it was called Madden 64 because
Madden
it was
64?
that time whenever N64 everything was a 64.
Everything was
It
64.
was a 64th, whatever. I think they did it with everything but Zelda. And so yeah, he had it, and we would go over there, and it was on the Xbox where you had 4 controllers, or not the Xbox, I'm sorry, this N64 where you had 4 controllers. And so we would hang out with, like, 4 of us would hang out and play Madden 2-on-2, which was a lot of fun. And I think that, like, in terms of like game systems, that was something that just like that made putting 4 players on a game really made it a lot more fun if you did it right. And at the time, I think Madden, I haven't played it since then, but I just remember it being a lot of fun. So much so, and then, well, I don't want to step on the future, but it wasn't the most fun. I'll just say that. But it was a lot of fun, and that kind of like lit that fire for me. And then I didn't pick it up again until I think GameCube era. I got whatever 04, 03, somewhere around in there. I got a copy of it for my GameCube when I had that, and then the Xbox 360 era. I remember I got 04, 05, 06, and 07. Like I was
boom,
really
boom,
into
boom,
it right then. Yeah. And every year I would get the new one when it came out, and I was playing them pretty well throughout there. And those were, I could play them by myself. Like I could stand alone, play it at home without, because, online was still relatively new. So, it wasn't geared towards online play or microtransactions or any of this crap. It was, and to me, I feel like that's where it peaked for me, was around that era.
Yeah.
And then I picked it up again. I think the last, other than the one I just downloaded to play, and then I think I played it a couple of years ago on the EA Xbox subscription, whenever they first tied in EA to the Xbox thing.
Yeah.
I played it then as well, a little bit, but I remember thinking this is just too complicated. But the last one I played that I really enjoyed was for the PSP. I think it was the 2008 edition. They came out with, it was the one that had Brett Favre on the cover in the Green Bay uniform. And they came out with a special edition PSP that was this cobalt blue. And it came with the Madden 08 or 07, whichever one was out that year. And I just loved it. It was perfect because I could play it on the go, and it played really well, and it was simple. And that's probably the last one I enjoyed.
That'd be great. I didn't realize they had it on PSP. That would have been perfect. Yeah.
I miss the PSP.
Yeah.
I want to go get another one.
Yeah. I had the Darth Vader version. I don't know if you remember that one. It had Vader. It was all black. Well, most PSPs originals are black, but it was like Vader black. Yeah, and it had Vader's silhouette basically on the back of it, and it was pretty cool.
On the battery cover, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I had, so I think I just had 03. I played other versions of Madden at friends' houses, but I didn't buy another version for myself until right after the Xbox One came out. And I got the Xbox One on day one. I had the day one launch edition. I still have the controller.
I remember that.
Says day one. Yeah. And I ended up buying Madden 25. It had Adrian Peterson on the cover of it. And I remember...
Not to be confused with this 25 that's coming out. This is the 25th anniversary.
Yeah, it was
of
the 25th
series.
Madden, and it was just called Madden 25.
But came out in 2012 or something like that?
So, yeah. And I remember I did a franchise mode as a coach for the Cleveland Browns, and I went undefeated that year with the Cleveland Browns, won the Super Bowl, and I don't know if you even remember, Trent Richardson was their running back that year, and he wasn't great, but in the game he won like offensive player of the year, and I don't know, it was like overall player of the year. I don't remember how many touchdowns I had with him, but it was ridiculous. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I do like doing now. One thing that they have added that I do like is where you can create a player, and then you just play as that player. Like, you don't play any of the other plays, you just play as that player. And I've actually done I can't remember which Madden it was, but I've actually done a season as a running back. And like went to the Super Bowl, and I don't think I won, but it was fun just playing as a running back. Yeah, because you're just there for those plays. Sometimes like you're just running a route as just like a distraction while I don't know. It was just kind of fun. It was different, kind of fun to do that.
It's gotta hurt your feelings when the AI doesn't pick you for the receiver.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, anyways, we'll move on from Madden.
Yeah.
I think we could talk about that one for an entire episode, I'm sure.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Let's move on to number 2, our number 2 pick, because this is not just the Madden hour.
No,
two, I'll go first.
Okay.
For me, number 2 was Tecmo Bowl. Actually, specifically Tecmo Super Bowl. Because Tecmo Bowl, I didn't feel like was quite as good. I remember growing up preferring Tecmo Super Bowl, and I went back and played them again this week, and I can attest Tecmo Super Bowl is much better than just the first Tecmo Bowl. I found it to be they kind of took what they were doing with Tecmo Bowl and evolved it. Like, it was a good leap ahead of what they were doing with Tecmo Bowl whenever you go to Tecmo Super Bowl. And it's a lot harder than I remember, but not it's not complicated. It's just challenging. And it was by far, it's probably my favorite retro football game, if not my favorite retro. Well, probably not my favorite retro sports game, but my favorite retro football game for sure. But yeah, it took what they were doing with that original one, and they improved upon it a little bit. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I haven't played. I think they did another version on the Super Nintendo, if I remember correctly. But I don't think I ever played that one.
It was probably like super tech, like with the Nintendo 64. It was always like in the SNES period. It was always super. Yeah.
So they never did that with like, GameCube or Switch or anything like that. You don't see all these games that are like Zelda Switch or Mario Switch or anything like that. But
Mario Cube.
Yeah. So
he's just a
number
block.
2.
Yeah. So I never played Tecmo Super Bowl. I played Tecmo Bowl.
Okay.
And I think they have Tecmo Bowl on the Switch online.
They do.
And I played that a couple weeks ago. Right, not the Super Bowl. I played that a couple weeks ago. I forgot that you played defense on that. Like, for some reason, I was always thinking it was just that you just played offense. But what I love about that game is when you have the ball and you pick your play and you need to hike it, it's a constant hut until you hit that button. It'll just keep doing it. And I'm like, yes.
Did it annoy your wife too? Because it annoyed the crap out of my wife.
Yeah.
She was like, "You got to turn this off, or you got to go in another room, or I'm gonna put on headphones or something."
Yes.
I was like, "That's fine. I'll play it later."
Yeah. And I love all just the little, like if you score a touchdown, it's like that frame by frame of the two guys coming up and giving each other a 5 and then falling back down. And yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But all that now was Tecmo's Super Bowl. Did they actually have the names of the teams?
Yes.
Okay.
Not all
Tecmo
of them.
Bowl. Okay.
But they had some of them. But it's the same as Tecmo Bowl. Tecmo Bowl had some of them, right?
They had something, but they didn't actually have their names. It was
that's true. It was just Kansas
Indianapolis,
City and Indianapolis.
Dallas. Yeah.
It's the same way here, but I mean the logos are very, I think, are the same, and it's just kind of like you're led to. Yeah. I mean, it's not as egregious as some of the other ones, but yeah. So number 2 for you, what would you say?
Oh yeah, NFL Blitz.
NFL Blitz.
Remember
that's
that?
A good one.
NFL Blitz. Yeah. I remember like that. This was like really the first arcade football game. Did you ever play this in the arcade?
I did. You know, I gotta say, and you've stepped on my number 1 right here. It's NFL Blitz.
Okay. Let's just talk about them back and forth. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. This is great. Yeah. Yeah.
So you're number 2, my number 1. We're going to be here for a minute.
I remember going to Pizza Hut, and they had this at Pizza Hut, and my friends and I, we would go over there. And what was great about it, since it was an arcade game, you could just you could play a quick game. I mean, yes, in the arcade, but sorry, they ported this over to Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, PC, and believe it or not, they had a version for Game Boy Color, which I've never played. But I remember playing this with friends at home too, and it was so fast. Oh, Blitz! It was so fast. You just pick it up, you get through a game in like 10 minutes. Yeah.
We'd stretch
hits
out. You'd knock the player to the ground, then you could just dogpile him, just like keep hitting him, or he'd score a touchdown, and you could run up and knock him down. Yeah, it was fantastic. It was great. Yeah. That was This was a really. That's why it's my number 1, because it was such a fun game. It was so much fun to play, and I still enjoy it. I got it. I played it this week for the PlayStation. It was it was still just as much fun as it was back then. It was just there was like it's like anything. Whenever you go back PlayStation 1 and before, there's a little bit of like a muscle memory thing, like where you have to like retrain your brain how to play those old games. Because now, from like the Xbox on, it seems like all games control relatively the same. And so you can pretty much pick up any game and know how to play it or control it with some ease. Yeah. And you go back and the controls are a little different. It's a little, I don't know how to describe it. It takes a minute to kind of get used to it again. So it took me a couple rounds to kind of like, okay, I got to do this, and then I got to press this, and I got to do this, or I got to control it this way or whatever. But man, it's just a lot of fun. And I remember this is what I was talking about with the N64 era. We would play this one whenever this came out. This took over from Madden for us. This was the game, the football game that we loved to play, was this NFL Blitz. And because you could play 4-player on this thing. You pick, each of you, you got a receiver, and you got a passer and a receiver on one side, and you got 2 defensive men on the other side. And it just became this slog, or this punch out fest where bodies are just flying across the screen, and everybody's just diving for the ball. And like we would turn, like you remember in the beginning they have 3 little icons in the bottom, and you could like rapid press the buttons, and you would get like special power-ups for it and everything like that. So we'd have a list of all the power-ups, and everybody would like power up their player any specific way they could to play it. And we would have it set so that like the ball was like slippery and like fumbles like kept going or something like that. And so like the ball was just like, it was almost a soccer match. It was just constantly pinging around. Oh, this game was so much fun. This game, do you know where this game came from?
No.
So this game comes from who's the maker of this game?
Midway made it. Yeah.
Midway, yes. Who made NBA Jam? They had this monster hit with NBA Jam.
Such a great game.
Such a great game. And they said, how can we do this with the NFL? And that's where we got NFL Blitz. NFL Blitz is NBA Jam as football.
For the NFL. Nice.
For the NFL. And it's awesome. Just so much fun. And I'm bummed that they lost. The NFL was just so uptight about it that they basically took the licensing back and we lost this great franchise. Yeah.
Now you know why they did that. Because
Madden, I'm sure.
Well, so Madden was part of it. Madden, EA wanted an exclusivity deal with them.
Yeah.
So
everybody always wants exclusivity.
Oh yeah. But they last year, the year before, they had like Blitz came out. Like they made a game called Blitz, and it doesn't have the trademarked, Chiefs or whatever, Patriots, anything, those names in there. But the NFL, because they approached the NFL about it, because I want to say maybe their exclusivity contract has ran out with Madden, or it is going to, or something. But the NFL, some of us fans like to call them the No Fun League sometimes because of how they change rules. Yes. They didn't like all the late hits and things in the game. And they're like, we need to take that out of there because that's not how we play. And I think there was originally football.
Like blood and stuff too, and they didn't like that either.
Yeah. And
which is funny because I think in Madden now, don't they bleed a little bit?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Okay. So, there's that.
But it's like clearly Midway is not even a company anymore, but whoever's making the new Blitz game, they were like, well, that totally takes away from what this game is. Like it's Blitz. It's dogpiling on people and, body slamming guys and everything. And it's, and they didn't want to have anything to do with it. So unfortunately, that's the way it goes.
That was the thing that made it so much fun, is that you could just pick it up, start it, and then just play rough and tumble for the fun of it. None of this like technical garbage. I don't even think we ever had penalties called in the game.
No, they didn't have penalties in the game.
Yeah.
And then your extra points, you could either go for 2, or if you went to do the extra point, like do the kick, it just gave it to you. It's like, we're not even going to worry about kicking. Yeah, well, that's not what this game's about. It's about beating the crap out of each other.
That's right.
Through football. Yeah.
I loved how the guy would, the receiver would catch the ball and you'd go to hit him, and you could either slam him down one way. Like, I don't remember having much control over it, but your defensive men would slam him down one way or the other, and sometimes they'd land on one side of the line and sometimes they'd land on the other side of the line.
Yeah.
And it was always annoying whenever they'd swing him over the line and then slam him down behind the line.
Yes.
Or sometimes you would accidentally push him into the end zone trying to tackle him.
Yes.
It was always annoying. Or they would just be almost to the end zone, and you grab them and tackle them and slam them back an additional like 5 or 10 yards from the goal line.
Yes. Yeah.
It was so much fun.
Yeah, that was a good game. And like I said, it's the only that I know of. It's the only football title that had an arcade release.
I think Elway's football game had an arcade release.
Elway? Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, there's all those little ones that are named after.
Back in the before players. Like Madden and all that. It was before.
Yeah.
It was around the time that Nintendo was starting to pick up steam, and everything was still being pushed towards arcades and stuff like that. It was before Nintendo. As they were dominating, I should say, because development takes time. But there was a couple others, but it was back in the day. But like this one was just like. Man, it was so much fun. I don't even think it's a problem. I think it kept the game interesting. It kept it from being too one-sided. It was the rubber banding of the computer. the AI, it's not AI, I don't know why I call it AI, the computer would, if you got too far ahead, would just suddenly become this just behemoth that could throw the ball the entire length of the field or plow right through you or whatever it needed to do to score points or to keep you
right
down.
Back up there.
Yeah, to get right back up there. So the game never really got too lopsided. But this one was just always a lot of fun. I enjoyed this one thoroughly. And now they have these arcade one-up machines, and they have one that you can get that is the NFL Blitz.
Oh, do they really?
They do. They have NFL Blitz, and they have NBA Jam, but they have them as two separate ones. I'm waiting for them to put one out that has the two of them together, and then I'll get it.
Here's my wallet.
That's right.
Just take it.
Because it's like $500 for one, and that's fine as long as it's got a good amount of games in it. Like I kind of want to get the class of 81 that they've got, and it's got like Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Galaga, Galaxia, Mappy, Dig Dug 1 and 2, and then like a couple other games in there. Which that's for a stand-up arcade. That's an awesome. I'll take that all day long. Yeah. And then I think there's another one that's got Mortal Kombat 2, but it's also got like 1, 2, and 3 Mortal Kombats. And then I think it's got Gauntlet and Paperboy with it, which is where I'm like, that's where it pays off.
It's got to be a Midway cabinet thing, because those are all Midway titles. Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
But for whatever reason, NBA Jam is still its own, and Blitz is still its own, and I'm like, y'all need to pair that with something else to make it worth my while.
Yeah. That's cool.
So that was my number one.
Yeah.
What's your number one?
Well, why don't we go over just a little mystique, I guess.
Okay. Let's do our least favorites first.
Our least favorite. Yeah.
That sounds like a plan. Yeah.
Okay.
I like it.
Okay. What's your least favorite?
All right. For me, we kind of touched on it a little bit. John Elway's game. It was that there was an era, 16-bit era, where it seemed like they were giving out football games to players. And I don't know if it was just where I live, but you had Aikman football, you had Emmitt Smith football, you had the John Elway football game, and you had, I think Joe Montana had a game as well.
Joe Montana had one. Yep. Yeah. Was there a Doug Flutie one?
I don't remember.
There's currently a Doug Flutie one on like the modern console like marketplaces. It looks. Sorry, I'm not bashing Doug Flutie at all, but it looks like it's just been like just strapped together with some glue and duct tape, and they slapped a famous football player's name on there, and they're trying to sell it. I think it's like sometimes $15 or something for the game, and it looks like it costs $15.
Yeah. So those 16-bit era games where I never played the Joe Montana one. And I don't want to now, just for fear of. I have too much respect for the guy. I don't want to lose respect for the guy based off of some garbage game from the 16-bit era. So I'm not playing the Joe Montana football game because the Aikman game, the Emmitt Smith game, and the Elway game were so bad that I don't want to go back and revisit them. So for me, it's those games. Though if you want to be specific, it's the Troy Aikman football game. That game was hot garbage. I did not enjoy it. Even the ABC Monday Night Football game back then was awful. And it was just, I think it was everybody trying to do something different because Madden was getting hot, and they were trying to do something different than Madden. They were trying to do something better. And the Monday Night Football game, I played it earlier today just to kind of like touch on it again. They didn't even have licensing rights to the NFL. It's ABC's Monday Night Football, and they did not have licensing rights to the NFL.
Yeah,
that should have been a sign that the game was doomed to fail right there.
Well, did you in sort of the same vein, and I don't know why this is, but I think it was Madden 64. They did not technically, now correct me if I'm wrong, listeners, but I don't remember them technically having the names of the teams on there. When you were picking teams, it was like Foxborough, Indianapolis, Dallas, like the names of the cities and not the actual teams, which thinking on it now is odd because it was a Madden title, but you're right. But my point being that a lot of these games do that just to avoid legal issues,
and they have to pay the NFL like an arm and a leg on these too, and any player that they specifically use gets paid. In addition, so everything they pack into it, it's just it can't be worth it. It can't be worth making these games nowadays with all these players on it. So, but I think now they make a deal at the league level, and then I don't know. I don't know how it works, but I gotta imagine that now they're making it at the league level, and the league takes care of it for everybody. Because I can't imagine Madden football cutting checks to thousands of football players, hundreds of football players. I can't
imagine.
I mean, they're not paying a million.
Just their name, they're using their names. Like because you got some fullback from I don't know what team, some the Panthers,
some random quarterback from the Patriots.
Yeah. And not to beat Madden into the ground, not to chase a rabbit, but one thing that I did make a note on for this that we didn't touch on earlier. I don't know why nowadays, with how they have almost everything digitally, why they can't just you can download Madden for free, and then
season pass it.
Season pass it, and they give you the updated roster. Maybe they'll make a couple change. Well, no, they could even just do updates to the base game just to change some of the mechanics, but just charge people for the updated rosters once a year. And I don't know.
It's a season pass, and if you want to play online, you get the season pass. You get to play online for a year, whatever you want to call it. Hell, do it per quarter. $20 for a quarter, $25 for a quarter. Most people would pay that no problem.
Yep.
And then if you want to play out the whole year, you know what? You just earned yourself $100 for the game.
Yeah. Why doesn't EA hire us?
We can solve the world's problems right here.
That's right. Yeah. My least favorite. Was I'm gonna get a lot of people giving me crap about
bring it.
Mutant League Football. Do you remember this game?
I never played it. It looked like Blitz, but with mutants.
Couldn't understand how to play it. That's the thing. I didn't play this. I haven't played this recently. Maybe I ought to try to play it now. But when I was a kid, I remember I had a friend staying the night. We went to the local grocery store because around here, I don't know if it was this way down in your area, but the grocery stores would rent out games and movies. They had little rental sections. And we were getting some stuff to eat that night, and Dad, we were with our dad, and we wanted to rent a game. And the kid that was hanging out with me, he wanted to get Madden. There was like a monster game. I don't remember what it was. There was maybe it was Zombies Ate My Neighbors. I wanted that. Let's try this. And we couldn't make a decision. And I think Dad was ready to go. And he was
ready
like,
to go when you walked in.
Oh yeah. He's like, why don't you guys just get this Mutant League Football here? It's got your monster. I can hear him saying it still. It's got your monsters and it's got your football. And we looked at each other and we're like, okay, all right, we'll get that. And we got back to the house, and of course, our father knows nothing about. He knew nothing about games, and he tried playing with me once or twice because I begged him, and he played just maybe 10 minutes and was like, "I'm done." But I remember we got back and we fired that thing up, and neither one of us could figure out how to play that stupid game. And I hated it. And so I've just had a sour taste in my mouth since I was 8. about that game. I don't know. It may be good, but to me, it was way too complicated. Couldn't figure it out.
I thought that was a more recent game. I didn't know it went back that far.
Yeah. There was. I think the more recent releases, I believe, are like they've like like a new vision of like they've re-envisioned them and they're bringing them back, and I haven't played the new ones, but
just call it reanimated. Mutant Football League reanimated.
Yes, the reanimated version. Yeah. The new ones they look interesting. And I don't know if is it the Mutant League ones? There's one that I keep looking at because it goes on sale all the time, and it's got monsters and stuff in it playing football, but it is like a strategy game. So like you'll like the plays play out super slow, and you have to like on a grid like guide your like running back to where they're going to go, and then the other player
like an RPG.
Yeah, almost. So and it's always on sale for like $10, and I need to just pick it up sometime and try it out.
How come nobody's tried to do an RPG football game?
Well,
I want to see an RPG football game.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do you want to hear my number one? It's sort of it's not like a full on like role playing game football game.
All right, what's your number one?
Retro Bowl.
Retro Bowl.
Do you remember?
Okay.
I think I may have mentioned this to you once or twice, but like just in a brief conversation. This game. Okay, so my sports games, like all-time favorite sports games, number one is always going to be Baseball Stars for the NES, but Retro Bowl it's like it was inspired by Tecmo Bowl.
Okay.
But you had, so it released on iOS and Android back in 2020. I remember I bought it for 99 cents. I think that's still 99 cents. Great game. I've got it on my iPad. I've got it on my phone. They released it last year, I think, for Switch. I have it on Switch.
I saw it on the Switch library. I thought it was just Tecmo Super Bowl, but like how they do like the arcade whenever runs.
Yeah,
I thought it was just one of those.
Buy this game. It is so good. And so you start out as
sell it.
You can either you either pick. You can pick any team you want, or you can just like start out in a random team. And you start out as this coach for this team. It's the last game of the season, and the team has just sucked. They're terrible. And you've got to play out this last game, and you're destined to lose. Like, you can probably win, but it's super, super hard. I have not done it. But so you start the next season. You build your team up over the season. So you've got drafts, you've got first, second, and third round, and this is all pixelated. Like, the whole game looks pixelated. Your first, second, your third round drafts. You can pick your players that you want. You've got a certain roster amount. I think it's 8 players that you can roster, and then those are like quote unquote your star players. And then all the other players, like, doesn't really matter. But like, so you've got your running backs, your kicker, your quarterback, your wide receivers, and then you can also get defensive like tackles, defensive linemen. I think that's all for defense. But you build up your team because your offense and your defense has star ratings, and then you have an overall rating. You're also hiring defensive and offensive coordinators, and they kind of increase how your players, because your players, every time they play a game, they gain experience, and like your arm strength for your quarterback will grow over time because you're gaining experience, or like your running back can get like super fast. And you only play offense in the game. Now, if your defense is really good, it'll come out on the field, and the defense, it'll show like that drive, your opponent's offensive drive, very quickly, and it'll tell like, oh, the defense made a stop, or whatever, or the offense scored. And then you go back out, and then so you're playing as your quarterback, and you literally like you hike the ball, and on like switch you use the thumbstick and you can aim. It's like a dotted line to where you're wanting to throw, and you can throw the ball because you pick your plays too. You can throw the ball, and then your receiver will catch it, and you can move and kind of juke a little bit. Or if you've got your running back, you run your routes, and I don't know. It's so much fun. Like, I have probably played hundreds of hours of this game. I have won multiple Super Bowls. I went on a run with one team, and I won 12 Super Bowls in a row. And that was the point where, so I've got to say, the New Star Games that make this game, they are very responsive. Kudos to you guys. I emailed them because that was when I had done like 12 Super Bowls in a row. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's getting too easy for me because I've learned how to build a team, because you've got players that will like retire. And then or they'll get mad and they're requesting a trade or whatever. So you're managing all this too. It's just a lot of stuff going on. And, cause you've got like, you watch their happiness level and things like that. And then you've got like salary caps. And so you've got to manage that. But I was just steamrolling the game because like I'm like, okay, I figured out if I let this guy go, I can draft this guy, or I can trade him off for a better draft, but whatever. So I emailed them and I'm like, hey, I'm on hard mode and I am like just winning Super Bowl. Is there any way that you could do just a hardcore mode,
murder mode?
And they emailed me back. They said, thank you for that suggestion. We'll pass that along to some of our other development team. And in like 2 months, they sent me an email, and then they rolled out this hardcore mode that's on there. And I'm sure they had other people maybe asking for that too. I'm not going to say I'm the guy that made that, but
you are. You're the guy.
Yeah. But man, Retro Bowl, play it. It is so much fun. It's so much. And the games are pretty quick. Like, you can play a game in like 10 minutes, just like NFL Blitz. So awesome. I don't know. Hopefully I sold you on that. It's a lot of me talking, but I love this game so much. It's so good.
No, I'm gonna check it out. That sounds like a good one.
Yeah, it really is.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think we covered football games.
Yeah,
we did it. We did all the football games. We're good.
Every single one. Yeah, every single game. Yeah.
That's all there is. There's just Madden. That's it. There's nothing else.
That's right.
All hail John Madden.
That's right. Yeah. So what are we doing? What are we doing next week?
Next week is your pick. What was you wanting to do? We were going to do
that's
football,
right. Yeah. We're going to talk some more football next week. I think we're just going to talk about let's just talk about maybe some of our favorite games and just maybe our favorite favorite life experiences with football.
Actual football. Actual game of football. Yes,
actual
NFL.
Real American football. Yeah, not games, just like real football. So
yeah. Sounds like a good one. I like it.
Okay. All right. Well, stick with us after the break here, and we'll answer our question. And so with that, we've reached another checkpoint. Remember, sharing is caring. Reviews help a lot. Please leave us a review. We really appreciate it. Share, subscribe, and be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.
See y'all next time. Thanks for being here.
This podcast takes tokens is a Clay Street production.
All right. So at the beginning of the episode, I proposed the cold open question. What sports games did you like as a kid, and what sports games do you like now? Why, if any? I'll let you go first. Sports games you liked as a kid, and what sports games do you like now?
Yeah, so as a kid, I liked RBI baseball. I think that's what it was for the NES. I wasn't good at it, but I liked
You don't have to be.
I don't know. I just liked it. Baseball, like, not now, because like we were discussing earlier with like the Madden games, I think baseball games have become too complicated now. But those older games, it's fun just to, swing. You got one button to swing, you got one button to pass. And I like that. Now, growing up later, of course, harkening back to our top 5 NES games episode, in high school, I loved Baseball Stars. Still love it. Played it last week. Love it so much. So now which ones do I like today? Ugh, that's hard. I can't tell you a sports game that I've played recently that I have been head over heels for. Maybe racing's like, would you consider racing a sports game at all?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah. So
any sport.
Okay, so the Forza Horizons game, I think, that was on Xbox, that came out a couple years ago. That was fun. It was a fun game. Yeah. What about you?
I get that. Yeah. I kind of ran the gamut there, but I think if I'm going to go back around the SNES era, it was either Super Black Bass. It's a fishing game. I enjoyed the heck out of that game.
Yeah,
that was so much fun. And it was relaxing. It wasn't stressful, but it was challenging. You kind of drive the boat around, use a little fish finder, find your fish, go fishing. I enjoyed that game. And also NBA Jam around the same era. That was just like, it came out later, like a few years after, but it was a lot of fun. That's another one of those games you get together with some friends and you play, and it's just a great time, especially whenever you learn all those little tricks and codes and stuff like that to unlock fire
from
mode,
downtown,
invincibility. Yes. Big head mode, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So much fun. Yeah. Really enjoyed that. And I think as I went along, I kind of got into later on in the PlayStation era, I really got into the Gran Turismo games. Those were just a lot of fun, especially the first two. Really enjoyed those. The third one, I think, is the first one they did on PS2. I kind of enjoyed that, but that was kind of the last one I played for a while. And then I kind of got into back into the Madden stuff for a while. And then you circle it back around all the way up to now. I picked up the Gran Turismo 7, I think they're on now. And I got that from my PS5, and I was playing that a little bit, but it's the same thing with the Madden. They've gone too far. It's too much. It's too complicated. Yeah. There's too many things. It's not as much fun as the first one was. Like the first one was just simple. It was a lot of fun. There was complexity to it, but it was simple complexity, for lack of a better term. But it was enjoyable. And now it's too much. It's too complicated. I played it for a little bit, but I'm like, I gotta get licenses. I gotta get my driver's license in the game. You gotta get your driver's license in the game. That's ridiculous.
What?
Yeah, which is basically like the tutorial mode. So you had to basically complete tutorial mode in order to like race in all these bigger races to earn more money, to get more cars and all this other stuff. And then I think there's microtransactions in there too. I can't remember exactly because it's been a couple months since I played it. But I just didn't enjoy it. So I kind of like, I backed off of that. But I really enjoy now, whenever I'm playing sports games, the one that I really enjoy recently, and it's not a sport I'd ever want to play in real life, but the EA golf game, I forget what it's called. It's like, it's not the Tiger Woods one. It's whatever they got now. It's like Rory something or another. That one's just a lot of fun. Like, it's simple. I can just kick back, play a round of golf. It's not overly complicated. It can be, but it's not. And it's just a good, relaxing, fun time. And that really comes from back in the GameCube era. They had I was about to say this. Mario Golf was so much fun.
Tour.
Toadstool Tour,
yes.
That was so much fun. And then they put it out. They did a recent one on the Switch, and I got it, and it's still fun. It's not the same. It didn't quite capture the same magic that they had in that first one, but this one is still pretty fun, and I enjoy that. I enjoy just like a nice like golf game. It's relaxing and it's fun. Or even like Outlaw Golf back on the PlayStation 2. That was a lot of fun. It was kind of like it's kind of like Blitz, but with golf, except I don't think there was as much mayhem. It was more like, I think you could run people down in your golf cart, actually. if I remember correctly. But that was a lot of fun too. But yeah, I just kind of got into golf games, I guess, lately. I don't know if I'm just old or what, but I would never want to go play golf. But the sim ones are fun. I enjoy them.
You know, I think that so the fun sports games that are more modern are not the ultra realistic.
That's right.
Sim games. It's
if I wanted to play football, I'd go play football.
Yeah. It's the games that are adding like Mario Golf, you know, adding a little cartoonish element to it, like things like that. You know, I don't know. I think it's like we've been hounding all episode. It's just the sim has become too lifelike, and it's just not fun. Like I just want something fun with my sports games, and
that's right. Relaxing.
Gosh, Toadstool Tour is so good. It was so good.
That was so much fun. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna lock it out with one more in the same vein. Any of the Mario Karts. Just a blast. Always fun.
Still playing.
Great sports.
We're playing with the kids. Yeah. Super Mario Kart 8, which is, you know, oh my gosh.
So much fun. Yeah. I think they're coming out with a new one, aren't they?
I think they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're always good.
Eight's been forever.
They're always good. Yeah. Just, I mean, 8, they've really milked 8 into the ground.
They have. Came off of the Wii, I think, right?
Yep. It did. Then they had it on Wii U, and then they put it out on Switch, and I think they
didn't
just
change anything
in the last 6 months finished the final season pass thing that they were doing for like new courses.
They did the same thing for what's the Mario game where you're bashing each other? It's the fighter game.
Oh, like Super Smash Brothers.
Super Smash Brothers. They did the same thing with the last Smash Brothers too. It was like it was on the Wii, and then they kept just putting it. They haven't put a new version out, but they do like the season pass thing with it. It works.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Take note, Madden.
That's right. That's right. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just re-release it. That's how it is. Yeah. Yeah, so before
you got one more thing.
Well, before we
leave?
go, I've got one thing. So you guys have been awful quiet this last week or so. We haven't really gotten a lot of comments from you. We would like to hear more from you. You know, leave us a comment on YouTube or Spotify, or send us an email at thispodcasttakestokens@gmail.com. I think that's. Is there any other way you can think of that they our Facebook page? On our Facebook
find us on Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah.
Comment
let us
on
know.
those.
Comment. Let us
put up little clips there too.
So, a recent Jaws episode, so I share these on my personal Facebook page, just so friends and family can see these episodes, and they can, it might be easier for them to look at them or whatever. One of our fans, a friend of mine, Will. He's commented on a couple of our videos on YouTube. He left us another comment, but he commented on my personal Facebook page about it. But it was on the Jaws episode. He says, another fine episode. I actually think the build-up and scenes leading up to the shark's reveal are the best parts of this movie. It's kind of like the origin story of a great supervillain. That is a great way to think about it.
That's a great take.
I had not thought about that. So yeah, Will. Well, you're right. That's that's you hit the nail on the head. So
that's right.
Yeah. But anyway, we appreciate you guys. Like I said, drop us a line, let us know what you're thinking, and we'd love to hear from you. We'll read your comments on the air, and
that's right.
Yeah.
Till next week.
We'll see you then.